Hey there guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion, number 270, HR Substations and Save and Load Overview. So unfortunately, I'm not joined by anybody today. Affliction had some stuff to do, and we had planned a time, except my power went out, so that time was not workable, so I'm having to do this on my own. So we're going to head straight into this. Steam Awards by Clonin. So Steam has opened up the nominations for this year's Steam Awards. You can check them out here. Last year, Factorio was actually selected as a nominee for the Haunts My Dreams Award. There's a category this year for Best Developer, and many in the community have wanted to nominate us for that category. Unfortunately, to be eligible, we would need to have a developer page set up on Steam. We had some discussion and decided to wait until we have a final Woobi Software logo and theme finalized before setting up a developer page. This means you won't be able to vote for us as Best Developer this year. Hopefully next year, though. This doesn't mean that you can't nominate Factorio for one of the categories, and there's already been some discussion on the subreddit about which games people are voting for. So on the Factorio subreddit, it looks like people are interested in voting for Factorio for the award of like most fun with a machine, which definitely I think is applicable here. So there's that. Definitely go vote. It would be really awesome if Factorio won an award for sure. Definitely deserves it. So HR Substation by Albert. A substation was another one of the entities that we couldn't just render in double resolution. So it has taken quite some time and iterations to get to something we're happy with. As you can see, they've pretty much completely redone it, which I really like. I very much like this new one. It looks, it looks less like a traditional real life substation, really, I think, but that's not a bad thing by any means. I think it fits a lot better into the Factorio theme and graphical style than the other one did. Even if the other one was high res, like with the style it was, I think these fit way better. So really, really good job on this. I love like the red and green and orange wires here. It just looks super nice. Can see obviously solar panels, the belts here that they talked about last time definitely look nice. So really cool. Deterministic save load in Factorio. So this part's a bit technical, not insanely technical, but this is kind of interesting about how the saving and loading works in Factorio. So this is by our seating. One of the key parts of the save load process in Factorio is that it must be deterministic. This means that for a given save file, when no external factors change, saving, exiting, and loading the save shouldn't change any observable behavior. There are a few reasons and benefits for this strict requirement. Without it, you wouldn't join a running multiplayer game and by proxy save, exit, and resume one. Oh, you couldn't. I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic. You couldn't join one. Without it, the replay system wouldn't work if you ever saved, exited, and resumed playing. With it, we can easily test that saving and loading procedures produces no observable change, letting us know we implemented save load correctly. With it, you won't see things change randomly as a result of reloading like you do in so many other games. The premise sounds simple enough. Make running game to save, to load, or to exit to load running game. Produce the same results every time when nothing else changes. However, in practice, this ends up being quite complex. Factorio uses serialization and deserialization. See more about it there. The exact format of the serialized save file changes from map version to map version, so we always have to keep that in mind when loading. As a slight aside, we took some measurements of what parts of the map data take what amount of space in a typical uncompressed save game. So decoratives take a huge amount, tiles take a huge amount, entities, blueprint library, force data, transport belts, service and chunk, and other. So what I gathered from this is bots are just awesome because they don't take much of anything. Actually, they're probably under entities. I'm just joking, but decoratives and tiles take more than half of it, really, and that's a lot. I wouldn't have actually, I thought they would take a lot, but I wouldn't think they would take that much. So that's pretty interesting. Saving the game is fairly straightforward. Save the ID mapping, see this, save the map data. Loading, however, becomes quite complicated due to the variety of things we need to account for. Map version migrations, which I'm sure you can know we've all had issues with. Mod additions, removals, changes, that can also cause a lot of issues. Potentially invalid, corrupted save files. Over the years of Factorio development, we've had a handful of strange bug reports about saves not loading, which have been tracked to the loading logic previously not handling all of those special cases, a few notable examples. When items are changed due to base game mod migrations, it can change what type an item is, resulting in what used to be a module now being something else, but still occupying an entity's module inventory. During the loading, the bounding box of an entity can change if the prototype data for that entity was changed, mod added, removed. When the bounding box changes, it can change which chunks the entity will overlap with. During loading, it's expected the number of chunks doesn't change. When the bounding box of an entity changes, it can overlap with a chunk which doesn't exist during saving, which makes sense. When prototype data changes, it can mean that entity bounding boxes have changed and what electric networks an entity was in could have changed. When something is removed during loading, mod removal, we have to destroy them in a specific order because entities, items, electric networks can have references to each other and expect to be destroyed from a specific state in a specific order. So I've noticed, obviously, I would imagine a lot of you have noticed that if you have like a modded game, like a modded save you're playing with, and then you go to load that save without any of the mods, it takes a very long time to load it. And my guess would be due to like this step here. Like even if it's not corrupted at all, it just takes a long time to load, is because they probably have to, take a long time and do this in a very specific way, removing all the modded stuff in there. So that kind of explains that, which is really nice to know actually. Overall, the entire process has grown quite complex to the point where it's difficult for us to remember all the special rules. With that in mind, I spent a day earlier this week documenting the entire process for easier reference as to what the order of things is and why we do what we do. For those interested in an even more technical overview of the save load process, a copy of that document can be found here. So for all you programmers, developers, techies out there, you can check that out if you're really interested in this stuff. Also, on the topic of loading, we have decided to drop support for loading maps from version 13 to 14 in the latest version, which means when you get your hands on 17, you will only be able to migrate a save from 15 to 16. However, as it worked before, you can still download 16 to migrate from 13, then migrate 16 to 17, so on and so forth. So do keep that in mind, guys. Like he said, I mean, it's not going to be impossible. You would just have to go into 16 and load the older save, and then save it at like when you're in 16, and then reload it in 17. Or 15, I suppose. So there we go. T-shirts for Christmas from Clonin. It is approaching the festive season once again, and as such, it's been nearly a whole year of selling our official Factorio t-shirts. Since moving to the new office, the merchandise operation has been given a whole double room to handle all the storage and shipping of the t-shirts. That's a ton of shirts, man. I've been curious, like how many shirts they're selling. Obviously, they don't say, and they probably wouldn't, but I would take it. It's quite a bit based on this. Last year, there were some cases where damn it, I did not mean to scroll. I'm sorry. Take my hand off the mouse. Last year, there were some reasons where the orders didn't arrive in time for the Christmas tree, and a few people reported the package taking over 1 month to arrive at their destination. We ship the orders from our office each Wednesday, so depending on when you order, it can take almost a week for any shipping confirmation. Obviously, if you order on a Thursday, it's gonna not ship until the next Wednesday. So this is really good information to know, because if you plan to order them for Christmas or any time really, like the ideal time to order would probably be Tuesday. If you order Wednesday, maybe they'd get it and ship it out, but that'd be cutting it close. So ordering like Tuesday would be like really good, I would say. Then they could just ship it the next day. Once it is shipped, a parcel will typically be delivered within a week anywhere in Europe and take about another week or two to arrive in the USA and worldwide. So if you guys want to order any of these for Christmas, to be safe, I'd honestly order them like now or the very start of December, just to be safe, because I mean, normally it would take like maybe 2 or 3 weeks to get to the US, but with Christmas and all that stuff, all the postage people are like everything's just overloaded, so it wouldn't surprise me if it took even longer than that. Outside of shipping each week, we can't make any promises on when the orders will arrive, so the best way to prevent any headache is to order from a store as soon as possible, as I said. So there you go, guys. Check out the store, get some t-shirts. I would love some more merchandise, man. It'd be awesome. But this Friday Fact's really good. It's cool to see how the saves work, and this kind of explains some stuff you notice. The HR substations look fantastic. I can't wait to play with them. And I mean, we're pretty close. January, they said, for 17. That would be awesome. Hopefully near the beginning rather than the end, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it. Next week, we should be able to get Afflixian and stuff back in here, provided there's no other unexpected problems. And until then, I hope you enjoyed. Any thoughts, leave below. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.